Hello, everyone, and welcome to Link Ahead, the City of Dublin podcast. I'm Bruce Edwards, the Digital Brand Manager for the City of Dublin.
And I'm Lindsay Weisenauer, Director of Communications and Public Information. And I'm glad we switched it up and let you lead off today, Bruce. You have a better podcast voice.
No. Right back at you. You're sounding rock solid on this.
Oh, thanks.
All right, let's get into it, Lindsay. Do you remember your very first bicycle? And if so, what was it?
Oh, actually, I do. I had a 10-speed pink Schwinn bicycle that I got for probably my 10th birthday, and it was very nice. It had the curly Q handlebars and all of that, and I remember it because we didn't usually get nice things when I was growing up, and this was like, wow, my parents must have really wanted to give me a nice gift, and so it was a combo gift for both birthday and Christmas. So I have a January birthday, and they just kind of put that together, but it was nice. I had no idea how to ride it. I didn't know about switching gears, 10 different speeds and all of that, but it was great. What about you?
I had a Frankenstein bike because I had two older brothers. I didn't get anything for my birthday when it came to bicycles. I always got their hand-me-downs that they'd seem to destroy. And then I think it was a combination Schwinn Huffy hybrid.
Whoa,
so,
I didn't know that was a thing.
No, well, I made it a thing. So it was pretty cool.
Great. Well, hey, let's bring in our guest then with a little rapid fire here. Your first bike, and how do you pedal around Dublin today?
Great question. I'd have to say that I did grow up in South Florida, so I had a bike since I was 5 years old, and all I can remember is training wheels on that bike. But we went everywhere with it, so it was great.
Great.
But these days in Dublin, we have such an extensive shared use pass system, I can easily go out for a bike ride during lunch. That's usually what I do.
There you go. So now we're going to share why we're starting off this episode of Link Ahead about bikes, and that's because our guest today is City of Dublin planner in Dublin's Transportation and Mobility Division, J.M. Rayburn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Okay, J.M., we are a bronze level bike-friendly community. While it's great to be on the Olympic podium, how do we nab a silver or gold?
We got to get silver or gold.
You said how?
So last time we did an application was in 2018.
Okay.
We got great feedback after we were designated a bronze level city. Some of the things that we can do would be to add more bike racks, particularly around shopping destinations, provide more education and encouragement opportunities for our public, but also think about expanding our system, fill in the gaps where there are some, and then finally something called a Vision Zero plan, which is all about safety on our roadways.
Right, and this is great timing because May is Bike Month. Anything exciting coming up?
Absolutely. We have something called a bike rodeo coming up on May 14th.
Fun.
It will be at the Derby Street parking lot in historic Dublin from 10 a.m. to noon. And this is an opportunity to have a safety clinic for kids to learn about the rules of the road when biking, but also some other good things like fitting your helmet or looking at your bike to see that it's good to go for the road. At the same time, we'll have something called Bike with the Buckeyes. This is a new program with our volunteer section of the city. And what this will comprise of is meeting with a doctor or two doctors from Ohio State. They will talk about relevant things like skincare with summer coming up, and then they'll go for a 5 to 10 minute bike ride.
Oh, that's fun.
That is cool.
So the only other thing that I have to say is we'll be doing a promotion for Bike to Work, which is on May 20th.
May 20th. Okay.
Yes, mark
I hope
your
it doesn't
calendars.
rain.
Please.
So there's truly a cool factor to the other plans citywide involving two wheels. We have a pilot program coming out that involves bird scooters. Can you tell us about it?
This is an exciting step for Dublin. We are going to allow bird scooters and other micromobility devices in our city. We're going to allow them to travel on shared use paths as well as sidewalks, bike lanes, and also some travel lanes. So the whole point is we want to have 12 months to see how this goes in our community, how it's received. And then from there, we'll have provide recommendations to council on how to move forward with this permanently.
And I saw there's going to be a mobility boulevard. What exactly is that?
Yes, this is an exciting thing for Dublin. We are going to basically take parts of Mill Lane and Derby Street in historic Dublin. These run north-south parallel to High Street. And we're going to create something called a mobility boulevard, which in essence is a bike boulevard for those who are familiar with that in the community. And this will be an opportunity for riders on scooters and bikes to ride on the roadway very comfortably and kind of provide more space on High Street for people to walk around.
Could people use their own personal scooters? It doesn't just have to be the bird scooters?
Yes, and I hope they do. All are welcome to bring their own scooters or devices, but we want to provide some of those as well with Bird.
What about rollerblades? I'm going back to the
Are they
90s
coming
here.
back? I
hope
hope
so.
so.
I have a
I
pair in
love
my trunk right
rollerblades.
now that have not been used in about 10 years.
Rollerblades need to have a comeback.
Yes.
Bruce,
Thank you.
it's on you.
Bring it back.
So much to get into here about the scooters. So there are 4 phases that stretch through June of 23. What's coming in each phase?
Great question. The first phase we just wrapped up. It was putting together the whole pilot, going through the details, vetting some of the options with our Public Services Committee of Council. So now that we got council to approve it on April 11th, it will go into effect on May 1st, which is the next phase. This will happen for about 3 months, and we'll see how scooters are adopted and received in our community. If everything is good to go, we'll take it citywide in phase 3. And then in phase 4, we'll report out how things went and see how we want to move forward.
So Jay, and let me ask if I could, when it comes to like doing the study and everything, so how do you benchmark that? Like how do you say if it's a successful outcome or a not successful outcome?
We really rely on the data, but also from surveys from the public and other tidbits of information that we'll get along the way. So for example, we'll have a survey go out in May, which is also for Bike Month. We'll incorporate some Bike Month questions, but also talk about scooters. And then probably halfway through the pilot, we'll do another survey. And then at the end, we'll see how attitudes have changed or haven't changed.
Shifting gears a little bit to something else that City Council has invested in, and that's the Dublin Connector. I know you've been really involved with that, and it's this fare-free ride share service. We've had it for a few years now, but I still think there are a lot of people who don't know about it. Tell us about the Dublin Connector.
The Dublin Connector is a great benefit for the community. It provides fare-free rides, as you mentioned, Lindsay, for eligible riders. Those would be our older citizens, as well as those with disabilities, and anyone who works in Dublin. So this is a great opportunity for people to take this for transportation to medical appointments or perhaps to their place of employment, or even to visit loved ones. We really want it to be as all-encompassing as possible for the community.
And it's really easy to book, right? It's as simple as Uber or Lyft. You can kind of access it from the Go Dublin app and just book your ride.
You can absolutely book it from the Go Dublin app. We also have a phone number which could be handy, and that number is 833-742-7333.
Great. Sounds good. And it's on the website too. So you can find it at dublinohiousa.gov/share. And yeah, really encourage people to check that out.
Let's stick with the connector for something else that just sounds cool. Concierge service.
I like
Notice
the way
how
you say it.
I
Yeah, you
emphasize
sound
that.
fancy.
I mean, anything attached with the word concierge just sounds next level. Now, this rolls out in July this summer. What is it?
The Mobility Concierge is office hours for the community. We'll be at the East Plaza Pavilion at Riverside Crossing Park, which is near the intersection of Riverside Drive and Bridge Park Avenue. I will be there every Friday from 1 to 3 p.m., and I'll be there to either collect information and public input on particular mobility projects, or I'll have a map of a neighborhood in Dublin where people can put stickers for where they'd like investments in that neighborhood. We call that dot democracy.
I love it.
That's a great term.
And you just love talking about mobility. You genuinely are sitting there with a huge smile on your face right now. Our listeners can't see it, but you love it. So you did this last year too, where people just show up at the concierge and you really can talk about anything. Yeah.
Talk about anything and get the best candid feedback at the same time.
That's amazing. Well, so tell us about some of the other mobility initiatives in the works.
Later this year, we're planning to launch Kogo in the City of Dublin.
All right.
And Kogo is the regional bike share, which was started about 10 years ago in Columbus and has grown to other communities such as Upper Arlington, Bexley, Grandview Heights. So we're excited to add Dublin to that list as well. We're planning to roll out 4 stations later this year, and they will be at the Dublin Community Recreation Center, as well as North Market Bridge Park, the library, parking garage, and near the intersection of Metro Place North and France Road.
All right, so those are the docked bike stations, right? So you go there and you swipe a credit card and get a bike for a few hours?
That's exactly what it is. And the coolest thing about our fleet is that we're going to have a mix of traditional bikes, but also e-bikes.
Oh, wow. So if you're feeling a little bit lazy and you just need an assist.
I tell you what,
Going up a hill.
I've seen a lot of e-bikes lately, and that just blows my mind that the fact that I could probably ride from Clintonville, where I live, all the way up here on Dublin and not break a sweat. We've talked a lot about individual efforts, all very important stuff, and collectively they come together and hopefully to create a mind shift about transportation. Can you talk about that shift, Jam?
We have a goal of shifting the workforce to not driving in their cars every day. The goal of that shift is 1%. If we have a workforce of 70,000 people, we want to shift 700 people a day to taking transit, riding their bike, perhaps walking or scooting if it's appropriate, or even carpooling. There's so many different ways now to get around town without driving by yourself.
700, that sounds doable to me, doesn't it?
We're on our way.
I like that. And I mean, there are a lot of benefits to that. Fewer cars means cleaner air, less congestion, safer streets for bikes, walkers, runners, all of that.
Yeah, who doesn't love that?
It all sounds good to me.
Yeah, and that's a great point. We live in the Midwest and we have this mindset of driving everywhere. But, to button things up, we started talking about bikes and we looked at Smart Asset's top 30 bicycle-friendly cities. And granted, large metro areas are represented there, but the Midwest is lacking. You've got Chicago, Minneapolis, St. Paul, a handful of cities in the Midwest. But California had 12 cities in the top 25. Will it be the millennials or Gen Zers who propel those shifts to bikes, scooters, and more ride sharing here and around the country?
I think they'll have a part to play in it, but I'm also hoping to encourage other adults to try these different modes of transportation. So we have an opportunity to do that coming up with Citizen U, which is a program we do here at the city with different residents. And we want to introduce them to e-bikes and scooters so they can get a feel for it and then tell their friends and family about their experience.
Well, I was just out in California last week, and there were so many scooters in San Diego, and they were really, organized in a nice fashion. They had bicycle parking. They had all this stuff. So you felt like you didn't have to take a car anywhere.
That's the whole point. We want to make it as easy as possible. So our goal is to get people to Dublin quickly, safely, but also inexpensively. And I think that's one of the big goals that drives what we do in transportation and mobility.
Okay. Well, I don't know about you, Bruce, but I want to do a little more rapid fire.
Absolutely.
JM, I hope you're ready for this.
I'm ready.
Okay. Hard-hitting question. What does JM stand for?
So glad you asked that, Lindsay. So JM is my initials. It's short for John Marmo, which is a family name.
Oh, great. Marmo. I like it. Can I call you Marmo from now on?
You can call me Marmo.
All right, this is rapid fire. Come on.
Sorry.
Favorite place to bike to?
Oh, I'd have to say the new Emerald Trail. So we just designated the Emerald Trail from 161 and Sawmill, and it meanders 10 miles all the way to Glacier Ridge Metro Park, and it's a lovely ride.
Nice.
Okay. Longest bike ride you've ever taken?
Longest bike ride would be Bike the Sea Bus, which happens on Labor Day weekend typically. And it was about a 30-mile bike ride weaving in and out of different Columbus neighborhoods, which is pretty cool.
City you've traveled to that has the best public transportation?
Hands down, I'd have to say Berlin, but then I was thinking about London. But I think I'll stick with Berlin. I went there maybe 10 years ago, and I was absolutely impressed by different levels of transportation they have there, everything from the subway to this above ground rail system and everything in between.
Wow.
Maybe we should take the podcast on the road to Berlin.
There we go, on the road. I don't know if that's in the budget, Lindsay.
Oh, shoot. Maybe next year. Okay, funniest question or best idea you've ever gotten at the Mobility Concierge?
I'd easily have to say a zip line across the Scioto River.
Nice.
I would do that.
Thing you're most proud of during your career with Dublin?
I would have to say so far, it's the design of the mobility hub at the Dublin Community Recreation Center. It's going to break ground soon, but it is a first of its kind in our region, and I hope it sets the standard.
I'm sure it will. Okay, last question. Favorite bird?
Cardinal.
I'm glad you didn't say scooter. Oh, JM, thank you for joining us today. We will see you on a shared use path soon.
And scooting along the Mobility Boulevard.
Thanks so much.
And to our listeners, thank you for taking the time to connect with your city. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many personalities and experiences that make Dublin a thriving place to live, work, and grow.